Alrighty. Good evening, Waxahachie ISD citizens. I hope today's town hall finds you doing well and having a great evening. This is one of the last town halls we'll have, the last one before early voting begins. And then should be one more right during the middle of early voting before the election, if I remember correctly. Before I tell you wrong, let me double check that because I would hate to tell you incorrectly here. So let's see here. So I was wrong. There are two more during early voting. Oh, during early voting. One on April 7th, one on April 21st, and then right before Election Day on May 1st. And so three more virtual town hall meetings after this one. Hopefully, you can make one of those in person right here at 6:30 on Facebook Live. So wanted to congratulate the Waxahachie High School One Act Play Troupe. I understand they have advanced to the area contest. Andy Reynolds and his staff, Ryan Mulliken, and the other folks that are part of that program do an outstanding job out there at the high school, and wanted to let them know that their accomplishments do not go unnoticed, as well as their contributions to the youth of our school district. Also, the Waxahachie FFA appears to have had a great showing over at the Ellis County um, Exposition over the weekend. Was coming back through that area on 287 during the rodeo, and it looked like they had a very good turnout for the rodeo. So hopefully they raised a lot of money for the FFA out there, because FFA does do a wonderful job in all of the agriculture programs within Waxahachie ISD. My son made it through the first two rounds, or first 2 years of welding out there. Had a wonderful experience with his welding teachers. So I do applaud those folks out there who are pouring into our students on a daily basis. Just in case you were wondering, one thing that is very near and dear to my heart, April is Autism Awareness Month, and specifically April 2nd is World Autism Day. And so if you are so inclined, over the course of the month of April, the I guess accepted color for autism is blue. So if you would like to wear blue on World Autism Day, April 2nd, and show your support for those individuals that are battling that particular disability, like I said, it is something that is near and dear to my heart. All right. Also, in case you were wondering, I will be appearing on the Ellis County Talker podcast. Mr. D.V. Levon hosts that podcast, and that should be coming out very shortly. And so on that podcast, answered a lot of questions for Mr. Levon about the upcoming race and some of the things that set me apart from the other candidates on the ticket. So hopefully you guys will take a look at that, support Mr. Levon, and listen to the questions he had for me and my responses to those. And of course, as you are watching tonight's virtual town hall meeting, if you would like a particular question answered, go ahead and add that to the comments. They should pop up on the chat screen here, and I will more than happily address your questions, your comments, and your concerns with Waxahachie ISD. Those are things that, again, that's the point of all these things, is to be able to engage with the community and be able to answer your questions about why I feel or felt the need to run for Waxahachie ISD School Board and my plans for the district going forward. So again, please all do the or your questions to the comment box. Okay, so we've got a couple topics here that I wanted to start off tonight with, and again, if you add comments, I'll answer those and jump off of what kind of I had scripted out here to talk about this evening. All right, first comment here. You might have already answered this, but do you know how long each current school board member has been serving? All right. Um, I can kind of quickly go through it. Mr. Autry, school board president, he has been on the board probably, I'm going to say 12 years. I'm thinking he's had 4 terms. Mr. Schoolfield is right there along with him. Okay, so you got Autry, Schoolfield, uh, Judd McCutcheon came on about that same time. So Dusty Autry, Clay Schoolfield, and Judd McCutcheon all started on the school board at about the same time. And again, just kind of quick math based on my recollection, those are going to be about 12 years. Kim Kriegel, hers is going to be a lot longer, but she did have a break in serving on the school board for a few years in there. I'm going to say hers is probably close to 20 years, would be my guess. She was on the school board when I moved to Waxahachie in 2017, and my understanding is that she'd been on the school board a while before that. Let's see here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've got 3 more. Debbie Timmerman, my opponent, she has been on the board for 6 years. She served 2 terms, and this would be her third if she continues on the board. And so you have Ryan Pitts. Ryan Pitts got on the board in the last election, so he's at 1 year. And then the other one, Adrian Cooper, also got on in the last election, so he's been on for 1 year. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, that's all 7 of them. So to answer your question, that's kind of where the school board members are. Autry, Schoolfield, and McCutcheon at about 12 years. Kim Kriegel at around 20 years. Timmerman has completed 2 terms, so that would be 6 years, 2 3-year terms. And then Pitts and Cooper at about a year. All right. So great question. If you have any more of them, fire away in the comments box, and I will answer it. So the first thing that I kind of had on the my kind of open comments here is the superintendent search for Waxahachie ISD. So the Waxahachie Daily Light put out an article here Friday-ish over the weekend that discussed the superintendent search. And at that time, Waxahachie ISD had narrowed down its superintendent candidate pool to 5 individuals. So there are 5 individuals who have moved into the second, third, whatever round of process that they're going through. I would assume it's probably a second round of interviews. And my understanding from the article is that the school board plans to vote on the lone finalist for the position in about a week on April 8th. April 8th or 9th is what the Waxahachie Daily Light article suggested. So just wanted to give you my thoughts on the, or what I believe would be the qualifications for the superintendent for Waxahachie ISD. So in those 5 candidates, I hope the school board is interviewing those candidates primarily in light of the survey results that they submitted to the community. And so back in the process, community members were emailed a survey. I say email, that may not be the right word. As a parent of a student in WISD, I received the survey through a parent square message. It's the district's texting and emailing combined together platform. So I received the survey. I completed the survey with my thoughts on what the superintendent needed, or the qualities or the qualifications that a superintendent for Waxahachie ISD would need. And so that's my first thought that I would take, is that the school board should be interviewing the individual based on the criteria that the survey established, that the community was looking for in a superintendent. So for me, the first criteria that I entered the survey in was that person needed to be honest and have high integrity. That is one thing that, if you ask around the community, that the Waxahachie ISD administration sometimes gets knocked on, is that they're not very transparent and they're not very open with the decisions that they make. And so honesty, integrity, and transparency are the three categories, or not three categories, I guess three qualities that I answered the survey with, because those are very important to me. And as a board member, they would also be the characteristics and the qualities that I would exhibit to the community. I always want to be transparent with the community. I always want to gain your trust, and my integrity is something that I hold very highly. So I want to be viewed as a person of great integrity and somebody that's going to do exactly what is asked of me and what that I promise that I'm going to do for other people. So the other piece that I answered the survey with is that the individual needs experience. I think it would be foolish, very, very foolish, for the Waxahachie ISD current Board of Trustees to select a superintendent that does not have any active superintendent experience. Now, to me, superintendent experience is not the same as assistant superintendent experience. Those are two very, very different roles and two very, very different positions. So to me, a superintendent needs active sitting superintendent experience, or the candidate for WISD needs active sitting superintendent experience. Now, why is that? The reason for that is as I've kind of laid out, we've got some challenges coming up in WISD over the next 5 to 10 years ish, and especially when we look at academics. Those are things that need to be fixed right now. And I don't believe our students, our kids, have the have the time for somebody to come into the superintendency and learn that job. That individual needs to be able to hit the ground running day one that they step in the seat. They need to be able to immediately assess the situation that is WISD and make sure that the decisions are being made to further our academic advancements. So we have to make sure that, or excuse me, in my opinion, the board should make sure that the individual who is selected as superintendent has active sitting superintendent experience. And really and truly, those are the key characteristics for me: active experience, honesty, integrity, trustworthiness, transparency, all of those things. Uh, the individual they select is somebody that needs to be able to have the community support, the community rally behind them, so that um, so that we can advance. Again, in the next 5 to 10 years, Waxahachie ISD is going to be faced with innumerable challenges, from staff retentions to test scores to budgetary items, and a superintendent is going to be the driving force in all of these areas. So it's very important that we select the right person for the job. And again, I very highly believe that that individual needs to be somebody that has active sitting superintendent experience. All right. Another question that has, and again, if those of you watching live, if you have questions, please, by all means, put them in the comments. I will address your questions just as quickly and honestly as I can. And so please make sure you add those, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. Another question that I get asked frequently is about my view on taxes, school taxes, property taxes, and the tax rate. So there's two pieces to the tax rate. There is the Ellis County Appraisal District, who sets the value of your home, and then the school board, who sets the taxed percentage or the tax rate of your home. Now, a lot of people in Waxahachie ISD are concerned about the taxes they have to pay, and I'm right there with you. For my single family dwelling in Waxahachie ISD, we pay roughly $7,000 a year in property taxes. That is quite a bit, and so I am no different than the rest of you guys. Part of that, though, is the rate at which the Ellis County Appraisal District has set the property valuation on my home. That property valuation has almost doubled since we built it in 2017. So each year I have had a significant property tax increase, primarily because of the valuation that the Ellis County Appraisal District has placed on my home. So we have to be very careful when we talk about tax rates. Are we talking about the valuation on your home set by the appraisal district, or are we talking about the tax rate set by Waxahachie ISD? So if we shift specifically to the tax rate that has been levied by Waxahachie ISD, Waxahachie ISD's tax rate is currently at around 85 cents. So 85 cent tax rate. And so that is 85 cents for every $100 that your home is valued at. The state of Texas has capped the tax rate at $1.17. So Waxahachie ISD is currently under the maximum state allowed tax rate. So what does that mean? Well, that means that we could, as a board, or the board could, raise the tax rate a lot. I mean, I'm not doing quick math between 85 and 117, but that's about 32 cents. If I can do quick math in my head, that can add up very quickly when you're talking about hundred of thousands of dollars worth of home. Now, luckily, our board, I believe, has been relatively conservative in our tax rate. But the question is what does that hold for the future? This year, we passed or excuse me, not we, the school board passed a balanced budget. There are several districts in the area who passed a deficit budget. And so in passing a balanced budget, there were sacrifices that had to be made. And those sacrifices came on the back of our educators. Our educators did not receive a cost of living raise or a raise to offset the increased amount of health insurance that they're paying. And so in all intents and purposes, our teachers this year are taking home less money than they were in previous school years. Again, inflation has gone up. The insurance premiums for the TRS Active Care has gone up as well. But the school district did not offer any additional compensation. So how do we fix that? Well, the school board could raise the tax rate and pass that burden on to the taxpayers. They've got 32 cents to do that with. As a school board member, I think we've got other options. Now, what are those other options? There is a bill, there is a law in the state of Texas called recapture. Some people refer to it as the Robin Hood Act, where property-rich school districts have to pay back to the state a portion of the funds that they collect on property taxes. Waxahachie ISD has fallen under the recapture umbrella. Waxahachie ISD pays approximately $500,000 a year in recapture. That money takes from Waxahachie ISD citizens and passes it on to other school districts. So what does that tell us? Well, that tells us that the state thinks that our tax rate is too high. So what does that mean exactly? Well, the state thinks our tax rate's too high, but we're not at the state's maximum tax rate. So if we did increase taxes, then we're just going to end up turning around and paying it back to the state. So I don't believe a tax rate increase is how we look at our budget to make sure that our teachers are adequately compensated. So that means we have to do something different. So the first thing that I think we need to look at is how can we eliminate the recapture? How can we pull that $500,000 down? And so we have to look at, is there a break-even point? Is there a point that we can lower the tax rate, eliminate the recapture, and get our budget back to being balanced so that our income is not being diverted to other school districts in the state? So that's the first step. Then the next step is looking at how can we adjust our spending to make sure that we are taking care of our teaching staff, our instructional staff. And there's lots of different ways that we can do that. If you talk with Mr. Colvin, he's the Chief Financial Officer, he'll tell you there are lots of wasted dollars in Waxahachie ISD. And I don't want you to get too alarmed by that because that's everywhere. Every school district, every business, every corporation has wasted dollars. The key, though, and the charge that I would give Mr. Colvin if I was on the board was to make sure we identify these wasted dollars and then proactively go about trying to prevent the continued waste of these dollars. We have to make sure that all of the money that we're spending is being spent appropriately and being spent in a manner that is going to further the education of our students. So What do we do for budget? Lower the tax rate to where we're no longer paying recapture and identify wasteful spending. And if you are following along with the national government, that has been the charge of Mr. Musk since he has taken on the job of the Department of Government Efficiency, I think is the title that he's taken on there. And again, if you listen to the pundits on TV, they'll tell you that he's found hundreds, thousands, if not millions of dollars that have been spent um, frivolously, or what he feels is frivolous. So those are the two areas when we talk about tax rate and budget that I think we can really take a look at. Now, next topic I kind of want to touch on is CTE classes. CTE classes, career and technology education classes, are a hallmark of high school right now. And what do I mean by that? Well, when I first started in education about 18 years ago, there was a push, and this push was for all students to go to college and all students to achieve a 4-year collegiate degree. Now, that was a great goal for education and for educators. But what did that do to our society? What were the unintended consequences, if you'll let me use that phrase, of this particular push? Well, I think the unintended consequence is now there is, and has been for several years now, a shortage of trade type individuals, plumbers, electricians, air conditioner technicians, things of that nature. These positions, these jobs, are understaffed right now. Now, why did they get that way? Again, I think it was to partially due to the push of us as educators pushing all kids to college. But there are some students out there that college is not going to be the best fit for them, but they can do exceptionally well in these trade type positions. And CTE classes are the foundational work for advancement into these trade classes, or excuse me, these trade fields, these trade occupations. We need electricians, plumbers, air conditioner technicians, all these things. And quite frankly, if I'm going to be completely honest, plumbers, electricians, etc., they actually make more than I do without college than I have with a bachelor's and master's degree. And these guys are taking home exceptional salaries, and again, higher than us over in the education that helped them get to where they were going to be. So CT classes are a great benefit to our students, and that's a program that needs to continue. It needs to continue in fidelity. Now, we take CTE classes and we add them to our accountability system, and they are in part of our accountability system through the Career College and Military Readiness Indicator. And there are about 13 different ways that a high school student can achieve career college and military readiness. And that is part of the accountability rating. Currently, Waxahachie ISD is at about 67% of our graduates being career college and military ready. Now, how do we improve that number to where all of our students are career college and military ready? CTE classes. Those are the easiest way for students to become career ready because the foundation work is done in the high school. They get on a pathway, whether it's construction, whether it's welding, whether it's business like Word, PowerPoint, Excel, things of that nature, and they stay in that track. And then by the time that they finish the third and fourth years of those programs, they are then considered career ready if they achieve their industry-based certification. And again, if you make it through 4 years in a particular field, you should be very well prepared to take the industry-based certification exam and do a great job on that. Now, the other way that we look at career college and military readiness is through advanced academics. And there are a couple different pathways through advanced academics that you can take to get the college ready part of career college and military readiness. Now, the big debate among educators, which is better for the student, dual credit or advanced placement? And the answer to that question is, for lack of a better term, it depends. It depends on the student. So what does that mean exactly? Well, AP courses, advanced placement courses, You take your coursework all the way through your year at high school, and then at the end of the year, you take a test, an AP test. And your whole potential for earning college credit is based on the score that you achieve on the AP test. AP tests are graded from 1 to 5. Most scores of 3 or 4 or 5 will be accepted for college credit. But that's not across the board. Each university, each college gets to establish their own criteria as to what warrants receiving credit from their from AP classes and AP tests for their university. And you have to be very confident that you're going to go to college A when you take AP classes, so you know what grade you need to make on the AP test to receive college credit. Now, I don't know about all of you guys, but I was not a good test taker, and I'm still not. So for me, AP classes would have been a horrible outcome. I would have not gotten, I don't believe I would have gotten college credit because I would have just totally psyched myself out on that one shot test. For me, what made more sense was dual credit classes. And I think these make a whole lot more sense for students than AP classes. Dual credit classes are classes that we partner with the local institution of higher education in Waxahachie. It's primarily a Navarro College. The board has also reached out to Tarleton State University. And when you're at Global, there's also some classes that are accredited through the University of Texas at Tyler. So two current institutions, Navarro College, UT Tyler, and then a third one that the board has begun research talks with about dual credit classes. So why dual credit? Well, dual credit classes are taught on campus by an instructor that has the necessary degrees to be an adjunct faculty member for the institution of higher education. So they have usually a master's degree in that particular discipline. AP courses, to be able to teach an AP course, you go to a AP Summer Institute. It's usually about 3 to 5 days of training on how to teach just the AP curriculum. And that's it. You take a 3 to 5 day course, and then you're qualified to teach AP classes. So your dual credit instructors generally have a master's degree in the topic that they're providing instruction on, and then they work through the curriculum in a semester just like you would at a college or an institution of higher education. The state of Texas has instituted the common numbering system, meaning that if you take English 1301 at Navarro College through dual credit, that same course is going to be English 1301 at the University of Texas, Texas A&M University, the University of North Texas, Stephen F. Austin State University, Sam Houston State University, whatever state school you want to go to, we have the common numbering system, so those courses will transfer to your institution of higher education. There's no questions, there's no guessing, there's no going to the websites and trying to find their equivalencies because the common numbering system does all of that for you. So in a dual credit class, you are almost guaranteed that you're not wasting your time, that you are taking the class and that you're going to get some credit or some benefit from it. Now, also, it is graded just like a college course, A, B, C, D, F. So you are, again, almost guaranteed some type of credit for your efforts. You're going to get a grade at the end of the semester. Again, it is not a one shot for a test that you cross your fingers that you do good on. So to me, when I was growing up and going through school, dual credit classes fit my learning style, fit my mentality, and just fit me better. And the more and more I get into education, the more and more I am an advocate for dual credit classes over AP classes, over advanced placements, just for the pure fact that an AP is a one shot. You get the one time to do it, and you either check the box or you exit out in just one time. And not only that, you've got to know where you're going. And as a junior, well, even as a freshman in high school, some AP classes are offered to freshmen. I know when I was a freshman in high school, I had zero idea of what I wanted to do in college, much less where I wanted to go to college. But you're forcing very young students to make a decision of, hey, I've got to make this score because I want to go to this college, and that's the score that they require. Again, dual credit, you are getting a grade no matter what, and it is up to you to score where you're at on that. Your work, your effort, all of those things factor in to an A, B, C, or D, whereas your work and your effort through the course may not necessarily be reflected on a one-shot test. And of course, as educators, we're always harping against high-stakes standardized testing like STAR and things of that nature. But we advocate strongly, or some of us do, let me rephrase that. Some of us advocate strongly for AP testing. My question is, what's the difference? It's still a single high-stakes test for a student. Whereas, again, to me, dual credit eliminates some of that and allows the student to learn at their pace and interact with an instructor on a daily basis that is highly trained or highly educated in the topic, in the discipline that is being presented. All right. So, and again, whether you go advanced placement or you go dual credit, you're still achieving career college and military readiness. So it increases and improves the school district's accountability rating in those areas. All right. So, thank you all for hopping on this evening. Thank you all for listening. I hope tonight's monologue, if you want to call it that, was informative for you guys. Again, if you have questions, please let me know. Add comments after the video has stopped. I will answer them. Add questions in the comments. I will answer them to the best way that I can over the next several days. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to me. I will answer any and all questions the best way I can. Daniel Hobbs for WISD at gmail.com if you would like to reach out to me. Early voting. Early voting is about 2 weeks away. I encourage each and every one of you to vote early, and that way your voice can be heard. If you are interested in yard signs or anything like that, I still do have some of those available. Reach out to me, Daniel Hobbs for WISD at gmail.com, and I will be more than happy to give you a sign, come plant it in your yard for you. That way you can support the efforts. So again, thank you all. Hope you have a wonderful evening, and don't forget, vote Daniel Hobbs, Place 7, Waxahachie ISD School Board. Have a great evening.